Okay, I think it's safe to say that it's the same as marketing. It's a finance mix. So it's a mix of coffee mornings, bucket collections, funds, trusts, grants, private donations, begging, crying, weeping, churches, retiring offerings. It's a mixture of everything. And I wish when I get to heaven, I'm going to say to God, why did you not finance all our passion plays really quickly and easily? And then I'll have a sleep for a while.
Well, earlier on in the workshop with Rachel, she was talking about having a backer, and we were very fortunate 1 year after Tom Farmer stopped backing, we were just offered £10,000 by an individual. So that's one way. What hasn't worked so well, I'd say in Edinburgh anyway, is persuading lots of churches to give a little. So we've had significant support from a small number of churches, but somehow or other we haven't had a lot of money from a lot of churches. We one year produced a big glossy leaflet, and at that time our fundraising group thought, well, if every church gave £100, that would cover the budget. It didn't happen. So most of our money now comes from grant-giving bodies. And it helps, as in my own case, if you're actually chairman of a grant-giving body. You just declare your interest, and then you let them, you dare them to say no.
So again, there are resources on the Passion Play website on funding and fundraising, and if any of you have got I was going to say magic answer, it's not quite the right thing, but if you know how to raise a lot of money, please let us know. Get a professional sound company. They're worth paying the money. And if you think, it was one of the ladies downstairs who has been given quite a high quote, then come and talk to us as a community. Oh yes, yeah. Talk to us as a community and say, look, I've been charged this. Any ideas as to how to bring that down, or is it too much? Or because we all have quotes where we try to insist on detailed quotes, but the company that we use doesn't do them. So, and they just won't do a detailed quote. So, but we trust.
To volunteers coming on and offering
that has helped. Volunteers has helped. So people who know sound, not just any random person. So I don't know how to wrap a cable, and that'll cost me an expensive mistake. So get people who do sound in churches and things like that. Leapfrogging your sound control points as well. So minimising that. Doing area 1 does area 3, area 5, things like that. And also doing a mic grid.
See, the Princess Street one's a promenade place, so we need 2 or sometimes 3 sound huts.
Yeah. And also do a mic grid. So with the maximum we use is 12 microphones plus 2 spare. And then we change them mid-play sometimes with actors changing them. And your company, sound company might say, oh no, we want to mic everybody. You don't need to mic everybody. You really don't. It's an expense that will cost you too much money. So you're the director, the producer, you tell them this is it, okay? A lot of trickery, a lot of moving, a lot of sneaking around. Cars, sometimes there's a car involved, or there's running around. Use your space. That's the thing, the biggest thing. I'd love to tell you there's one way of doing it. There's not. There's hundreds of ways of doing it.
You can also use a high-vis jacket, and they think Jesus is just one of the security people.
Yeah, disguise him. Yeah, we had him in a hoodie one year because it was dark. He was a black hoodie, and nobody knew it was him. I've done body double, so we changed Jesus is taken off in a stretcher, and behind a hut or behind a bush, really quickly we put the stretcher down, he jumps off, body double gets on, and off we go. I've had him disguised as the Sanhedrin, a priest. I've done tons of things.
Yeah, one thing we did most recently, I think, is a tent in the bushes in Princess Street Gardens for Jesus to change into his resurrection clothes.
So you just find it, and and have fun. It's one of the best bits. I love it. I don't know how to get them out of here. I don't know. Just steward it really carefully and cover it. Use your Roman soldiers, use your pilot, use different characters. That's the way. That can be challenging, especially if you have reviewers who are used to going to the theatre and they don't tend to. For a long time, I actually would say to our press person, I don't want any reviews, because a lot of these people, it's the first thing they've ever done. And they're amateur actors. And if a reviewer comes and says the acting was poor, they've worked for 6 months on that thing. So I wouldn't allow, for years, I wouldn't allow reviewers into it at all. And then a reviewer came in and actually gave us a good review. I was like, whew, that's okay. But I don't encourage it. I don't ask reviewers in. If they come, but I don't ask them in. Not even if I think it's brilliant. I don't want somebody who's given up 6 months of their life to then get a bad 2-star review or something simply because it's a religious play. It's discouraging. So I actually don't invite them.
I'm actually not that good at delegating, but certainly as a group of trustees it is vital to appoint a steering group. It so happens in our case that now most of the trustees are also members of the steering group, but certainly not all. So yeah, you've got to get a steering group, and these people have got to have little teams around them to do the spade work of actually making the play happen. The trustees' role as trustees is the overall strategy for the project. So yeah, you've got to have a steering group. What's your reporting structure? I'm not sure what that means in terms of who's reporting to who, so maybe whoever wrote this could tell us.
Yeah, it was about kind of looking at team structure and how you organise it really. I think it was really helpful to hear this afternoon about having separate teams, but it was just about hearing from your experience about what worked and perhaps what didn't really.
Well, I think what most of our steering group meetings would involve is each person who's on that reporting on what they've been doing and being responsible to, in this case, Suzanne as director.
So in the Easter Play Trust, that is a trust that is overseen by the trustees. I am not a trustee. I am a hired director. I have to go to all the trustee meetings, but that basically I'm that. And when Rachel set it up, she was the producer. When it moved over, the trustees decided they didn't want to be the producer of that, so I'm hired as producer and director, because that's my day job anyway. So that I am producer and director, I am reportable to them so they can call the shots on it. Then I run the steering, they set up the steering group, I run the steering group, which meets monthly, and we have what I call the matrix. It's just a spreadsheet. And it has everything like animals, clothes, sound, blah, 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 down that side, and a month along the top. And we literally work through, right, posters should be ready by now, this should be ready by now, blah, blah, blah. We work through that and report back to the trustees all the way along. And that's how it's run very practically. So they're the people on the ground. And on the day, then it's myself as director. I oversee a producer and the production manager, stage manager. We run the day, and that's run to a very detailed timetable, and it runs like clockwork. And we oversee. And if something goes wrong, that's my call and the head stewards. It's not the trustees.
And that's standard.
Yes. Yeah. There's no time. I don't have time. And literally, virtually every Easter play we've ever done, I think, I might be wrong in this, there's usually an ambulance somewhere in the middle of it, or a first aid or something.
Yeah.
And I've got.
You usually have to call an ambulance once.
I've got a I've got an earpiece, so we all have earpieces, and we're on different channels, and I flip between them all. And I am literally coordinating an ambulance coming in and an audience move at some point in that, and holding one or the other to make sure that nobody ever notices that something has gone on, and that. And I don't have time to go to a trustee and say, is it okay if, you know, or we've just received a bomb threat, is it okay if I make the call, myself and the head steward. One of the things that I think Rachel did right from the very beginning is the head steward is always a serving policeman or ex-serving policeman. And that is invaluable, because if something goes wrong, or a protest, or something, then immediately, you don't need 10 pages of, even though we have it in our health and safety manual, including where the temporary mortuary is. It's a bit overkill, but I did it. Literally, I go, do you know what, we've got a threat, and I go straight to the head steward, and he takes over. And we're hands off on that control. Yeah? It makes your life so much easier. Otherwise, you're the one that's in control of that, and if that goes wrong, then yeah. And we once had a guy standing, you know those masks that they wear? They're just about to have a riot or a protest or something. There was a guy in the audience standing wearing this mask, just standing there. And I thought, oh dear God, you know. But it turned out he was just a guy wearing the mask, you know. But I had to alert the head steward, who then alerted all the stewards to watch that guy. So we had to put a steward watching that. So that's the reporting structure. Different place will do different things. That works for us. And it was the same in Dundas. There was a steering group. They were the practical, and then there was another group which look at the logistics, the finance, the big decisions that happens at that level. These people are the ones that make it happen. So we bring stewarding in quite late. They have 2 weeks of training, which is like 2 hours. You come to a training event where the head steward will brief them, and that's done about 2 or 3 weeks before.
Not long before.
Not long before. One of the things that I do as director/producer a lot of is walk the site with innumerable people. So I walk the site with the sound, I walk the site with the head steward, I walk the site with the cast, and I individually talk them all through. This is what we need, this is where I think. This is a section where Jesus is going to go into the audience, so I need a steward there, I need a steward watching for that, I need that. But also, if you can, be on communication during live, you know, as director or producer or somebody who can call the shots. Because I very rarely see the whole show when it is actually happening. Because literally I'm watching the audience, I'm watching the stewards, I'm watching everything, and I'm listening all the time, and I'm calling everything. I'm going, all right, watch out for that, and that's it. Or Jesus has got stuck there, can we get him out? Or wait a minute, this has happened. You're problem solving all the way, so I never get to see it. I think the only thing I would say is that to point you into what Jolien said was when they do Ober Ammergau, that they bring in about 13 rabbis to see the play, to look at the script, and to make sure. That's what I would do. If I was doing something, I would approach somebody from the Jewish community and go, we just want to make sure that this is not offensive, this is not going to upset anyone. Can you have it? Which is what I would do for anything. If I was bringing out something, I would flag it up in front of people. To make sure that there wasn't offence there. It's what the secular theatre companies do. If they think something's a little bit on the edge, they'll show it to people, private audience first, and get the feedback. And if they say it goes, yeah, it goes. Same thing, look and see what your theatre's doing. So everybody is doing access. Access is the big thing just now. Without sounding mercenary, a little bit like Alex, I will sound mercenary. If you can tick those boxes for funding, then you'll get funding. All right, how are you going to make it so? Are you going to have you got people with disabilities in your cast? Have you got refugees in your cast? Not just the token 2 homeless people. Are you specifically targeting? I hate that word targeting, but that's what they're using, so you have to do that.
Did the question mean for audience or for
Yeah, it is for
actors?
audience.
Uh-huh.
So, but what we do in that is we don't do audio description because we're outside in the open air. You can do that, and that can be quite expensive to do. We do have signers. We're very fortunate that there are 2 Christian signers in Edinburgh who are theatre signers. And they do it for us for a small gift, actually. Their fee is, I think it's about £400 an hour for a signer. It's really expensive. But everybody's looking for that. Having said that, our community, even though we're in the city, our deaf community is very small that would come to the play. And so the signers actually said to us last year, it's not worth us signing the play for you because they're not coming. I think there was an event on, they said they're not going to come. So the weather was bad and they just didn't come, so we didn't have it.
Where would you put your signer in respect to the action that's...
Just to the side, and so that's another walkthrough that I do. Yeah. The trendy thing in theatre just now is to integrate it into your performance. It's really trendy. And there are courses now in BSL signers in theatre, BSL actors. And so you will find that. And you could see even get a student who would be well up for trying it, things like that. But we put ours just to the side, and she then tells the deaf community this is where she's going to be, so that they know where she is.
What if it's sort of moving though?
It's the same thing. So she walks through with me every scene. She also comes to rehearsal when we do it on site, so that she can see, and she'll then say to me, I think I should stand there. And I go, yeah, that's
then
fine.
the audience there, kind of, that audience has to move with her.
Well, the audience always
All
move.
move.
Yeah.
They all move. And so the deaf community will always know to be where she is. So they go, all right, well, she's usually dressed in black for ours. So dressed in black, and then I know where I'm going. She needs a script as well, because she needs to, it's a lot of work for a signer. That's why it's 400 quid a month. So we also make sure that there is seating available. So we're in a public park, but there are benches there which we move for safety, but we always ensure that there are some of the benches that are left so that people who are less able can sit there. And the stewards, we have set stewards it is their job to look out for people who are less able. So that's their specific job. You are ones looking after people who are less able. And so we make sure that they're always at the front, nobody's standing in front of them. Okay, so wheelchair users, people who are less able to do that. Signers hearing impaired, yeah, we don't. You could do touch tours, but it's probably not going to do an awful lot.
Sorry, what's a touch tour?
A touch tour is when if you go to a theatre, you can go in half an hour before the audience and you can touch the set and somebody will explain this is a green table and it's wooden and they can touch it and things like that. So I think I have talked about doing a touch tour before, but we've never done one.
In Brighton we had the biggest population of gospel choirs, and I regret not approaching them. And then Manchester Passion Play happened, and as what happened, it was a rather poor performance, a rather sometimes embarrassing performance of acting, and I thought, crumbs, I wish it wasn't put on. But the best bit was the gospel choir. It raised the roof, and we had to pay something towards the director, but all, it was about sort of 70 strong gospel, and it was terrific. So if they are available and they want to come and sing and do a couple of gospel sway, it just really lifts it up. So that's a thumbs up there.
Make it fit. No, I was going to say make it fit your play, but when Rachel first did the Edinburgh East play, one thing she felt very strongly about was wanting to use Celtic music. So, and it's a very traditional play, but we used Celtic, so there was long hours of people listening to CDs, and then so we got a team of people to listen to the CDs. Then they would present that to me as a director, and I'd be like, yeah, no, whatever. So we did that. The Dundas one is classical music, same thing. It took Sir Jack 2 solid days of listening to music, and then a full solid day of sitting playing me that music. Where I'm like, I don't know. Really? I don't know what that is. So Celtic to modern, we had the Glasgow Passion had an orchestra band, and we used modern pop music, including, which is now an advert just now, Your Own Personal Jesus was used, and that was there. And Angola Prison, they're all African Americans, so I wanted them to use they wanted to do hymns. I was like, we can't really do hymns because we hadn't done the Walk to the Cross yet. So I said, no, I want you to compose music that is from your own background, and I think that's really important. Same with Brazil, same with Italy. And that, so try and make it relevant to your play. I think that's the thing. But play with it, have fun, enjoy. I think the end song is what do you want the audience to leave with the feel with, and that's always an interesting one. So in the Celtic one, it's really upbeat, lively music, but you might want people to be leaving considerately, quietly, think about different things like that, or triumphant, there are lots of different things.
I think it's been asked already in another workshop, but charging for the event. Have you guys ever charged at Edinburgh, or have you ever thought about it?
Quick answer is no, and partly because we want to make it free, but also because we couldn't anyway, because the gardens is a public space. So you can't, people can come in, and how
So our gardens are paid normally, and we would pay to hire that space, and the council would work it out. This is how much we'd make per day. Residents have got a card that they get for free, but it's just a debate that we're having locally is, do we charge or do we not?
Yeah, so that came up in the workshop we were talking about, one of the marketing and something. And there are two things in that. Sometimes you will have to, so say for the Edinburgh Nativity and Glasgow Passion, we had to ticket for health and safety. So we had to set a capacity. So for Glasgow it was 4,000. So it was ticketed, it's free, and use Eventbrite. So Eventbrite will do it for free.
Maybe we're saying that the Edinburgh Nativity is not in Prince Street Gardens.
Oh yeah, so it's in a square, it's a different place. The annoying thing about that, if you do that and it's free, is that you get lots of people getting lots of tickets, especially churches, who then don't use them. And then you're public. So for us, the Glasgow one was annoying, and it happened in Edinburgh as well, was that churches were like, I'll take 100 tickets. Excellent, brilliant. Then I get a phone call one day, we're not using those tickets. Well, we're already sold out. So you have just stopped 100 members of the public seeing this play about Jesus because you took 100 and now you're not coming. So that's frustrating. And I think somebody, was it you saying, who was it said to me, they were charging.
Liverpool.
Yeah. Because when you charge, there's a value on it. So if I was going to do that, I would make it really nominal, because you're really trying to you're not trying to meet your costs, you're trying to get people in there. But yeah, you want to, because the Aberdeen one did charge and they were inside, and really, who is going to pay £15 to go and see a play about Jesus in a conference centre? Well, your church people are.
The York Mystery Play was £24.
Yeah, but then it's been going for thousands of years,
They had 42 performances.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think we'll ever have a yes/no answer to that. I think you have to know, which has been a theme throughout today, know your audience and know what's right for that audience. If it's a theatre-going audience that are used to paying, then make it a £5 or make it 10 or something that actually, because you are actually saying this is a piece of work that's quality, and this, as Alex said, this costs money to put on. This doesn't happen for free. And I think that does put a value on it, and people go, oh, do you know what? I went to see that Bath Passion play. That was incredible. Gosh, I better get a ticket for next year. Yeah, that's what you want to generate, that feel.
One of the things we did for a couple of events that we did a couple of years ago was we charged, I think it was £10 for your ticket and £1 for your guest.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Good thinking.
There's something about, you know, if you get a friend that, you know, you say, I'd love for you to come, I'd love for you to come so much that I bought you a ticket.
Exactly. That was our,
And that says something to the person, as
Yeah.
opposed to, do you want to join me?
yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
Friday
yeah.
afternoon, nah.
Yeah,
Or I'll wait and see.
Yeah.
If you've went out and bought them a ticket, you hand it them, you know.
Yeah. It's value, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
And it's open debate, you know, best things in life are free. If God gives the gospel free to you, and then, you know, think, well, okay, God, you told me to put this thing, you know, it's your will, your bill. And then, you know, arrive at the end of it, "Phew, where's all the money? You got the stage people saying, right, I want 10,000 tomorrow, you haven't paid it, I'm pulling out. And you're going, ugh. I mean, it comes in, it's a bit of a hairy road if you do the faith thing, and it's free. I mean, some people want the money before they start, some people do it halfway. I mean, if it's a wealthy community and you've got funders, then I'd give it free. But if it's a poor community and they can't afford much, and sorry, if it's the other way around, the other way around, and they can afford it, then well, great, we'll charge. You know? So I mean, it's different everywhere. You know, if you go to the Europassion, I encourage you to join the Europassion club, because you go to these conferences. It's a much more different way they do it. You go and visit their host passion player, and you go. It's a tour. It's almost like a sort of weekend out. And there's none of this sort of British way of how to best practice. You know, it's all socialising and sort of sitting at play. But it's in the relationships. You chat with people, like Ivan, when we were in Budapest. You chat to the guys in sort of Slovakia or Portugal. How do you do it? And you know, some people charge and some people don't. So it's according to what God has set out there for you. You know.
It's very complex, you know, how do you stop somebody from seeing it if it's in big open space and you can't go, have you paid? You know, do you do wristbands? We did wristbands for Glasgow, so that's how we knew people were there. We have to wrap up there. The one thing I would say, well, two things I would say is, we are all contactable. You know, so if you still have burning questions, then get them to Lindsay and she'll get them to us. We're all here to help each other, to do the best we can, to put these plays on, to tell the story of Jesus in our nation. I think you're all incredible. The amount of experience that's in this room is incredible. I've been challenged and excited by hearing your stories, and that's really important. I think you're all amazing. Give yourselves all a clap.